Hey Eurovision fans, it's time for another Eurovision news update. Today's top stories: Rina Rejected and Tap have tapped out. What's happening to the UK in Eurovision? Trouble in the Mediterranean, Greece and Cyprus continue their feud. And we look at the results of the biggest poll to date, looking at what Eurofans want in the jury televote percentage split. Plus lots of other delicious mini news. Let's kiki. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and on this channel I do year-round analysis, coverage and statistics of adult and junior Eurovision, as well as all the national finals. I actually just covered the first national final for junior Eurovision, the Dutch one. So our main news story today is about the UK, and TAP have released a tweet announcing they are ending their relationship with the BBC. They said, "We are thrilled that Eurovision in the UK has a bigger and wider audience than ever before, and to have been part of the UK hosting Liverpool with Ukraine this year was an incredible moment for us, showing the unifying power and importance of popular culture. We're so proud of Sam and May for representing the UK so wonderfully and are enjoying watching their careers flourish as a result. It's been brilliant working with the BBC this last 2 years, but for now, we think it's time to pass the baton back. We wish the BBC the best of luck with ongoing success and continuing to build the excitement and audience in the UK." So, just to give a little bit of history in case you don't know, since 2020, UK has been doing this system where they are partnering with a record company. So in 2020 and 21, they partnered with BMG. 2020 was obviously cancelled, but in 21 they went with Embers by James Newman, and obviously they got 0 points and came last. That didn't go particularly well. James Newman was actually sitting in the row behind me when I was at semi-final number 1. He was like behind me and 3 seats over. I made eye contact with him at one point. It was quite awkward. I don't think he recognized me. And then in 2022, TAP came in and obviously immediately had gigantic success with Sam Ryder coming second and scoring a number 2 hit in the UK as well, which is the best chart placing for a song in a long time as well. Now, from my understanding, they were only meant to be partnered with the BBC for 1 year, but because the UK ended up hosting, because of the situation in Ukraine, TAP agreed to stay for a second year. Obviously this year less successful. May ended up coming 25th. I still think there were lots of great things about the entry. The song was great. May was one of the best personalities in the whole contest this year. Probably her and Carrier were like my 2 favorite new personalities that emerged. And the stage show looked really, really cool. It had this really cool, fun pop art feel to it. So look, obviously there were problems with the vocals and some of the other staging concepts, but I still felt like they put forward a very good package and kept up some of the momentum. Now, first of all, who dumped who? In my opinion, I think TAP tapped out and dumped the BBC. That's just my impression. We don't have any confirmation. They've said that it's a mutual breaking up, but I don't think it's mutual. For me, this relationship is much more beneficial for the BBC because they've got someone coming in who is really specialized in music and how to market a song and do the music video and all these type of things that the BBC really aren't meant to be skilled at. That's not really their main job. So I think TAP brought a lot of experience and knowledge that was extremely beneficial. Now, from TAP's perspective, if they put all that work in and then the song comes 25th, that is probably not enough of a good result for them. Let's say that May had come first. Would TAP have tapped out? I don't think so. I think they would have stayed on until next year. Now, I don't know what the cutoff point for TAP was. I presume they had like a target in their head, like maybe top 10, top 15. Maybe it was actually written down in paper. Maybe it was just in their head. Maybe there were other factors as well, like record sales. May did go top 10 in the British charts, which is really amazing. That's 2 years in a row that the British song has been top 10 in the charts after previously like not being even remotely close. I think that TAP did a really, really great thing. That second place did so much work to changing the perception in the UK that it's all political and everyone hates them because of Brexit. Not everyone, it's just this awful group of very loud conspiracy theorists who think that everything is because of Brexit. So what do I think that the BBC should do from here? Well, I think this partnership has worked really well. I think they should probably seek out another record company if they can. I really don't want the UK to go back to the national final. I still think that there's a lot of kind of shame and hesitation in the British music industry about publicly putting yourself forward to represent the UK. And I just think if you do a national final, historically now we see that it's usually filled with non-established acts. There's not anyone who's remotely established at all. And I think if the UK wants to draw on those big acts who are going to have really, really strong performances and look amazing, the whole thing has to be a secret. It has to be behind closed doors. People have to be able to apply without feeling that they're risking the reputation of not being picked or being associated with Eurovision or getting rejected from a Eurovision selection. So I think the selection method that suits the UK's situation and personality right now the best is something that's totally secret, super anonymous, sunglasses, wigs, mustaches, raincoats, secret tunnels, everything. They need to keep it really secret. A national final, it's just going to be super naff. They did have one good result with Lucy Jones. She came 15th out of 42 countries in 2017. That is an excellent result. It was a beautiful song, but all the other ones weren't great, let's be real. Now the second big drama coming out of the UK is about Rina Sawayama. Nick Levine, who is in the British music industry, was on the Eurotrip podcast. He explained that Rina told him that she was approached by the BBC. She didn't give it an answer straight away. She wanted to think about it. By the time she made the decision and got back, presumably to say yes, but then she got no response back. This is like hugely speculative. We're talking about he said that, she said this. Again, we don't even know if she got back to them to say yes, but again, I'm presuming that she did because otherwise it'd be kind of a weird story to tell. I would imagine that by the time she got back, they had already picked May, or they were already in the late stages of doing it. They presumed that Rina wasn't interested, and so they kind of just moved on and picked May instead. Not great that they didn't reply to her. I think ghosting someone like Rina is probably not the best thing to do. If I was the British head of delegation now, I would be calling up Rina. I was like, Rina, 2024 Malmö, one-way ticket, let's do this. Start writing your song now. Maybe we're 2 or 3 songs. We'll put it to like some sort of like internal selection panel. We'll give feedback, but we'll still let you pick whichever one you want. Instead of spending a lot of money looking for people and doing like some sort of internal search, we can save all that money, put it towards your stage show, give you lots of support and marketing and all the stage props that you want, have something really epic and cool, and that's it, done and dusted. Rina's a great performer. She's going to put forward a great song because her reputation will be on the line. We know that she'll be able to deliver on the stage. That which was the big issue with May, her vocals really weren't there, whereas Rina's a little bit more of an established artist. So yeah, I think that's the best way for the UK to go. Look, UK doing well in Eurovision is good for everybody. They have the highest viewing figures in the whole competition, even though they try to pretend that they don't love it. British love Eurovision the most, like them and Iceland. It's also good when the big 5 do well as well, because it gets rid of any animosity or injustice that people feel that these countries are getting a free pass into the final. Again, I'm very pro Big 5. They pay for the competition. We need to think about how the competition is funded. The Big 5 doing well is good because it ensures that they're going to stay as well, and we need them to fund the competition. If the Big 5 leave, we are going to lose some smaller countries. That is just the plain fact of it. Okay, going on to our second main story, and this is about Greece and Cyprus. So we already had the mini drama earlier on this season where the Greek jury only gave 4 points to Cyprus in the Eurovision final. I think that was something to do with Martin Osterdahl trying to cramp down on kind of jury naughtiness. But there's news emerging now that ERT, which is the Greek broadcaster, have contacted the EBU to complain about Cyprus's national final this year. So this year, Cyprus is having a national final called Fame Story, but this national final is going to be filmed in Greece with a collaboration with a Greek broadcaster called Star Greece. So CYBC, which is the Cypriot broadcaster, is working with Star Greece together, filming in Greece, and the main Greek broadcaster who organizes Greece's entry is not happy about this. They filed a complaint with the EBU about it. Apparently they're claiming this is against the rules to hold a national final in another country. Hey guys, hot breaking news. There's been an update on the story just as I'm actually editing the video in a coffee shop. It seems that the complaint filed by the Greek broadcaster ERT has been upheld, and actually Cyprus will not be allowed to use Fame Story as their national final to choose their song and entrant for Eurovision 2024. It looks like Fame Story is still going to go ahead in Greece, so possibly we'll see several of the contestants from Fame Story after the show has ended, then going over to Cyprus to compete in the real national final, which will pick the winner. So it could be that the winner from Fame Story might go to the national final in Cyprus and actually not be picked because someone else has a better song. So quite an interesting dynamic that's going on there. A little bit of a shame that they weren't able to sort this out between closed doors. I don't think it's ever a good thing when delegations are fighting, let alone two delegations who are historically so closely tied. Perhaps they tried to sort it out behind the scenes and they couldn't come to an agreement, so ERT had to go above their heads to the EBU, and the EBU has taken their side. Cyprus has to hold its national final in Cyprus. Anyway, it's a suitable enough compromise. Fame Story is going to happen. It's just going to be there's an extra step until the song is is actually chosen a couple of months later. Back to Eurovision News Update. I would imagine that ERT, the main Greek broadcaster, is worried that Cyprus is going to steal their talent or their songs or something like that. Now, I don't have all the details, but it does seem maybe a little bit dramatic from the Greek delegation. I think there's plenty of talent in Greece. You only need one artist really at the end of the day. And I also think with everything that happened with the Greece delegation in Eurovision 2023, all the drama they had with their national final where one of the artists sued them, there was talk about them almost withdrawing, just kind of a lot of controversy this year with Greece, and then ended up going to Liverpool and non-qualifying. I think the Greek delegation has bigger fish to fry right now and trying to like fix themselves. Greece have been doing pretty well recently. Obviously they've had 2 top 10s in the last 3 years, but they haven't been in the top 5 in a long time. So I don't know if this is the best way for the Greek delegation to expend their energy, but perhaps there's deeper things going on behind the scenes that I don't know about. Okay, next I've got an interesting tweet from Vodim Tenigrancu, and it's about Sacha Jean-Baptiste's best results in Eurovision in previous years. So if you don't know, Sacha Jean-Baptiste is a Swedish staging, creative, music producer. I'm not sure what her official title is, but she basically does the staging for many Eurovision countries. She's got a very strong relationship with Georgia and Albania. I know she's done their staging a lot. She loves red and black and white. She's also worked with Switzerland as well. Someone's actually compiled all her best results per year. So you can see here that she's been in the competition every year since 2015. 11th in 2015, that was with Nina Sublati from Georgia. Interesting that she didn't do Heroes, so she wasn't involved with Sweden winning that year. This is just her best result, by the way. There's years where she actually works with multiple people. 2016, 7th, that's Armenia, Iveta Mukuchyan, that was my favorite song that year. And there are some rumors that Iveta Mukuchyan would like to represent Germany as an internal selection. I would be all over that if I was the German head of delegation, because she is really fantastic performer. 2017, 2nd place, that's with Christian Kostov. 2nd place in 2018 as well, that's Fuego. So she's got some amazing performances to her name, so working with Cyprus there. 2019, that's Switzerland. 3rd in 21, again with Switzerland. And then 4th last year, that is with Sweden. Oh, she was with Sweden last year. And then this year coming first with Loreen winning. So she finally got her first win, but that's an incredible record. 2nd, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 1st. Top 4 in the last 6 contests. She's really, I think she's a fantastic stager. She does have some quite similar concepts. She really loves reds, blacks, and whites. But then again, when she won with Lorraine, that was a very different color scape. That was kind of like these beautiful marbled, sandy, dusty colored. So actually kind of breaking her color mold there. I loved her staging with Tout l'univers from John's Tears in 21. That abstract moving apart staging was just absolutely fantastic. I would have loved to have seen her staging for Répondez-moi in 2020. I think it would have been absolutely and utterly gorgeous. And who knows, that could have actually elevated to the point that he would have won. I still think Switzerland would have been a contenders to win in 2020. But yeah, I really love her. I think she's really like helping to up the standard in staging. She's very sought after, but I don't think she spreads herself out too thin. We see there's some people who kind of cover 6, 7 different countries staging each year. Whereas I think she kind of sticks to like 2, 3. She has like a main one. We often see her sitting in the green room with her kind of like main artist, I suppose, or the one who's most likely to win. We saw her with John's Tears, we saw her with Loreen. Yeah, if you got a lot of money to spare, BBC actually, you should get Sacha Jean-Baptiste into your staging. She definitely knows how to glam up a staging. Okay, let's go to another tweet. This is from Jamie's tweet, who I featured on the channel before. This is an update on artists who may want to represent Netherlands in Eurovision 2024 and who doesn't. So in green here, we've got people who have expressed an interest. So there's a couple I've already spoken about before, including Crisscross Amsterdam, who currently is my #1 choice right now. I just want something fun and boppy and different from the Netherlands. Don't get me wrong, I still love the really dark pop, but just to kind of mix up a bit, that would be cool. It seems to see Stefania there as well, who represented Greece in 2021 and came 10th. Keep in mind, she also represented the Netherlands in Junior Eurovision for doing Kisses and Dancing, which is a total bop. Quite a few other people there who I don't recognize, but obviously Dow Bob is there as well. I covered him in my last Eurovision news update. And then there's a few other people I've never heard of before. Vincenzo, I haven't heard of Just. Goldband I've heard mentioned by quite a few people. I think that's they'd be quite popular to go through, but I don't know their music. Ziggy Krassenberg looks like a character. I'm getting kind of Jendrik vibes, Don't Feel Hate from Germany. And Crunchy Pappy Busy. Never heard of them either. But yeah, it looks like it would be something different. And then in the bottom right, April Darby, who I saw in a separate tweet singing a song. She's got an incredible voice. So yeah, she'd be great as well. If we look at the people in yellow, these are people who've expressed interest at an earlier moment. So we can see in the top right there, Meryl, who came, well, widely considered to come second in the Dutch internal selection for this year, losing out to Mia and Dion. I don't recognize any of the other 4 names. I'm glad I don't need to pronounce the girl in the middle. Right, because her name looks really difficult to say. So that's good though, great to see that there's so much dialogue about it and that people are a little bit more comfortable putting their names out. Again, this is something I spoke about earlier with the UK. I really think there are very few British artists who want to put their name forward. We had the same problem in Ireland. That's why it was so great to see that Roisin D was putting her name forward, because that's one of the very few times where we've had a big artist put themselves like, hey, I want to be chosen in the UK and Ireland. It just doesn't happen. There's so much shame and pride blocking people from expressing interest still. Before we go to our last main story, let's get a roundup of all the latest news from the national finals. And first up is about the Polish national final. Tulia, who represented Poland in 2019, have said that they are open to going back to the national final, but only if there was greater transparency. So look, they're basically just calling out all the controversy that happened this year in the Polish national final, which I can never pronounce, so I'm just going to call it the Polish national final. In case you don't know, I've already done a video where I spoke about all the controversy in this, so I won't get into it again. They're basically saying they want to come back, but they want it to be fair. They don't want it to be predetermined who's won, or there to have been like a secret internal selection that's already been done, so they're kind of wasting their time. So look, I get that. I would like Tulia to come back. I liked Palissier, Fire of Love. I thought it was a cool song. They were really unlucky in 2019. They actually did qualify, but the chairperson for the Czech jury put her votes backwards. Allegedly. Go look at them. You can clearly see she put her votes backwards. And because of that, Poland didn't qualify and Belarus got through instead. So really, really unlucky, because they should have been in the final and gotten that exposure. But unfortunately, due to human error, they allegedly didn't. So yeah, it would be nice to see them come back and get a little bit of a redemption. They provide this really like cool cultural viewpoint showing off Polish culture. I think it'd be really, really nice. But yeah, they only want to go back if they're going to have a fair shot at it. Next national final news is about Israel. Their show Rising Star is going to be starting in November. That'll make the post-Eurovision impression a little bit better. You've got something to bide you by before Christmas time. They've announced the panels and the format. They've got one new judge who I didn't know. I'm not going to talk about them. But yes, Rising Star is coming back, and Fame's Story, the Cypriot show, should be starting in September. We have some quick news about Benidorm Fest. It's going to be happening on Saturday, the 3rd of February, and the semi-finals will be happening on the Tuesday and Thursday before that. I will try and go to Benidorm Fest if I can this year. I'm not. It depends how expensive it is. But I'm expecting the songs to maybe be released late December, early January. Really excited for Benidorm Fest. I think it's one of my top 4 most anticipated national finals now every year. The Luxembourg national final, they've held auditions for 100 singers who want to be paired up with a song. So this year they opened it up that you don't have to submit a song, you can just submit yourself as a singer, and they'll audition you. If you're super awesome on stage, they will see can they find a song that doesn't have an owner and pair you up and make this like beautiful love match. So those auditions happened. Who knows, they might have found the next Luxembourgish Celine Dion. And final national final news, we have confirmation that Ukraine will be attending Eurovision next year, which is awesome. So happy to hear that. I can imagine the contest without Ukraine. I always miss them in the rare occasion that they aren't able to come. Not sure yet what the format for their national final is going to be. Presumably they're going to do Vidbeer again, but are they going to do it in the subway bunker like they did last time? I think the situation's much better now in Kiev, so they might be able to go back into the big studio to do it. But no matter what happens, Ukraine are so dedicated to the competition, they will make it happen. Whatever's necessary to do, they will do. If they need to film it in the subway again, they will. Also interesting to see if they go back to having semi-finals or will they go straight into the final like they did last year. Again, that could come down to security concerns and what is the most viable option. Okay, and now for our final main story, and it is a poll from WeWeBlogs, and they asked, what's your preferred public vote jury vote ratio? So this is a pretty big poll. 7,310 people replied, and the majority of them want to keep the 50-50 split, which I agree with. I also want to keep the 50-50 split. I've already gone into it in enough detail in my grand final analysis videos, which you can watch after this if you want. 19.1% of people want 60-40, which is a very awkward number. You don't get to 60-40 naturally. You'd have to multiply the jury score by 4 and the televote score by 6, which would look very, very messy. A lot lots of calculators, lots of decimal points. I don't think that would work. As I said in that video, if you were going to go for a different percentage, 33-63 would make the most sense, because then you just double the televote and be done with it. And then 16.1 want 70-30, and 6.5%, so that's around 1 in 16 people want televote only. They didn't think that the noughties was the dark ages. They thought it was awesome. They want to go back to that. Yeah, you need the jury, just lots of reasons, spreading out points, letting niche songs be appreciated. If you have televote only, you're just going to get too much silliness, wackiness, people doing stupid stuff to get the public's attention. I think that the music will really suffer, and the variety in the competition will really suffer as well. It's not just about the winner. People are too focused on the winner sometimes. It's about all 26 songs in the final, what's best for everybody, and all 40 or so countries in the contest, not just about having your favorite person win. Okay, so that's all the Eurovision news that I've got for today. Thank you so much to Jennifer L for supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee, and also to Gingy B for supporting me on PayPal. Thank you so much, guys. Your donations help keep the channel going in this low view off season. If you want to keep the channel alive, I'll leave some links in the description in case you want to donate. What did you think about all this Eurovision news? Please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Please don't forget to give me a like. It really helps with that nasty, evil algorithm. If you like this analysis video and you want to see some more, I'll leave a couple of them for you here. And thanks so much for watching. I'm seeing another Eurovision news update very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.